Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Monte, one half of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. We're produced out of Indie Music TV in New York. That's Ron Conkema, New York. Yes, again, that's Indie Music TV. You could also catch us on RTF Sports Network. That's RTF Sports Network, the #1 growing streaming sports network on the air today. Catch us every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, we're their anchor show. And catch our rerun on a morning drive time from 10 to 11 a.m. You could also catch us on the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monte and the Pharaoh page, Twitch TV Monte and the Pharaoh page, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or any streaming network. We're on it. You can find us anywhere. Also catch us on New York Cable, Channel 115, every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also catch us Saturday mornings on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And catch us Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. on Channel 20. Soon we'll be coming to Amazon, so catch us there also. We want to thank everybody for the support. And again, please catch us every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monte the Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, new, old, endangered, and let's have a little fun. Talk to you soon.
The A+.
Hello, this is Lanny, Poffo, formerly the genius full of glory and renown, and I love to come to New York City and have pizza. Unfortunately, I've been to Frankie's, and I can't get off the toilet.
The A+.
Hello, this is Lanny, Poffo, formerly the genius full of glory.
Too heavy to
Welcome to another episode of Monte and the Pharaoh every Thursday from 8:05 to 9 p.m. I'm Mike Monte. This is
the Pharaoh.
And we welcome all our guests. And in studio is WWE legend, leaping Lanny Poffo, the genius Lanny Poffo. Mr. Poffo, thank you for joining us.
You could call me Lanny.
Yeah, baby.
Right. I need respect. I want to be young.
You got it, pal.
You also neglected to mention this is the executive consultant to Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
I was once the executive consultant to Mr.
Permanently.
Perfect. Mr. Perfect, you're the man who's never wrong. Can you prophesize what we're about to do? By the power of the genius and the world's smartest man. Rely on my incredible IQ.
Ah, very good. Very good.
Many belts this show is held.
Yeah.
We have Atlantic Grand Prix champion, Gulf Coast Tag Team champion with his brother, Macho Man Randy Savage. ICW champion, which was his father, Angelo Poffo's organization. ICW Southeast champion. ICW United States champion. ICW World Heavyweight champion. Also, back in the day, ranked in the PWI Top 500, which was always a very prestigious list.
Yeah, according to us, we grew up on PWI, so that's where we used to rank and look at our wrestlers.
The days before the internet.
Before Wi-Fi, there was PWI.
That's right. Very good. Very good.
It was the pipeline to all the wrestlers we loved.
So, Lanny, let's jump off. I want to speak about your father, Angelo Poffo, one of the all-time greats, Angelo Poffo, sorry. Can you tell us a little bit about him and what it was like growing up being the son of the great Angelo Poffo?
Wow, those are big shoes to fill. And you know what? I quit trying to fill them because he was from the greatest generation. And he was tremendous fellow. He was served in the U.S. Navy in World War II. Okay. He went to DePaul University under the GI Bill. He did a lot of great things. As a matter of fact, let me summarize by giving you the poem I wrote for his funeral many years ago. It was he died at the age of almost 85, and it was March 4th, 2010 when he passed away. So this funeral was March the 6th in Downers Grove, Illinois. And I was in the St. Joseph Catholic Church, where I once went to confession and got thrown out because I said, "You first." Sorry.
Okay.
A little levity. A little levity to ease the tension.
You're not taking one for the team.
No. Anyway.
Fight the real enemy.
So anyway, my poem, if I can remember it, is, 'twas back in 1945 on Independence Day, the Nazis had surrendered. Japan was on its way. My dad was in the Navy, as history will tell. As he was bleeding through the mats, a world record fell. He did 6,000 sit-ups with an extra 33 to glorify our Savior who died on Calvary. Wow. And Robert Ripley's feature celebrated this event. Giving credence to success is not an accident. That's always been his motto through times both good and bad. He's a real Hall of Famer and the world's greatest dad. Thank you.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
That's incredible. Oh, my God.
When he did this 6,033 sit-ups, when was this, can I ask? What year was this, by any chance?
July the 4th, 1945.
How did I know you would know the date on top of it? Yeah, wow.
Yes,
that's
and I was born...
Does that record still stand, by the way?
No, it doesn't. They keep beating it, but my father did it with his Navy style, with his hands behind his head.
Okay.
And now in the Guinness Book of World Records, they keep beating it, but they do swinging.
Okay. How long did it take him to do this? Because he did this
4 hours, 10 minutes.
Wow. Is everyone picturing this at home?
And what was great about it, back before the internet, back before radio, television, there was newspaper or nothing.
Right.
And newspaper was, and you all saw the movie Citizen Kane, and that was the story of who? William Randolph Hearst.
Oh, right, with the newspapers.
Yes.
That's right.
And
Rosebud.
Rosebud.
Oh,
yes.
my God.
And
it's a masterpiece.
It was. Yeah. It was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And then
yep.
his Orson Welles' last words, don't let that bastard put crayons on my movie. And that was his message to Ted Turner, who colorized everything.
Right.
And he says,
I hated when he did that. I hated that.
He says, the last time I checked, I bought the movie. So anyway, what was the question? Something
just about growing up with having your father. You know, what kind of figure was he at home? Was he intimidating to you by any chance at any point? This is, I mean, were you like have a fearful of Dad, or was it more like, you know?
I was more fearful of the Macho Man.
Interesting. Okay,
No, really.
well, we can get to that dynamic.
Yeah,
we could get that dynamic.
It was
later.
like having two fathers and a mother.
You know, and on that subject, everybody knows your brother, Hall of Fame wrestler, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage. What was your relationship like growing up together? How competitive were the two of you with each other? And was there any?
It was not competitive.
Was there any jealousy?
It was not competitive. He was the superior.
The
I was
dominator.
the okay. He was the alpha.
Okay.
I was not even the beta.
Okay.
But now that I'm the last man standing, I've decided to play the role of alpha with wobbly knees.
Okay.
By all means.
Yeah, because there's one eye is king in the valley of the blind, and that makes me the alpha. In fact, I had the epiphany when I was 59 years old.
Okay.
You might think when I turned 60 that would be it wasn't.
Okay.
When I said, I am the older brother now, so I can make unpopular decisions. That's when I decided to go against my brother's wishes and put Randy in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Randy was against this.
He was against it.
Can you tell us a little bit about what he said to you, maybe perhaps about all of this? You know, what was it? Why didn't he want to go in? Was it where he was with Vince at the given moment?
Just very angry. And,
why was he? If I can ask,
see,
why was he?
Here's the problem. I follow my favorite person on YouTube
Okay.
is Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Okay, I know who that is.
Okay.
Okay.
And I recommend that. Go on YouTube. He died a few years ago of leukemia or something, but I'm sure he fought bravely. And I've got a list of rules on my refrigerator, and one of the most important rules is there is no such thing as a justified resentment. So, and yet, I feel I have to fight my brother's battles and represent him and my father.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where it began. I think it was November 16th, 1987.
Okay.
That was in the Meadowlands Arena. They were going to have a Legends Battle Royal.
Yep. Okay. We were talking about. Go on.
20 men are going
Okay.
to be in that Battle Royal. Al Costello just got the call from Pat Patterson, and Al and my father were friends, kind of like they have to be friends because nobody else is alive, you know.
Right.
So Al, I can't do the Australian accent.
So Al Costello, if anyone doesn't know at home, was part of the great tag team, the Kangaroos,
The
correct?
Fabulous Kangaroos.
Yep, go ahead.
He says, oh, Pat Patterson has just called me up. There's going to be a Battle Royal with Bobo Brazil, Killer Kowalski, Lou Thez.
A Legends Battle Royal.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gene Kiniski.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys that were my father's friends.
Great names. Yeah.
So I remember my father and my brother, we came over to see our parents from the road. We were on the road together, and we came in together. But my dad knew who had the clout, who had the stroke, who had the power. So he ignored me and went right to Randy, and he said, there's going to be a battle royal of legends in... there's going to be a battle royal. I heard a reverb. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Sorry about
It's all right. Cut. Okay.
that. Onward.
So anyway, and he says, do you think you can get me on that card? Don't worry, it's done. I said, well, it's done.
Okay.
Randy get it done. Randy's got it. And then I think I'm standing there in Cap Center in Landover, Maryland, which no longer exists, I think. Nothing exists anymore, does it?
No.
Seems that way.
Well, Madison Square Garden's still there.
We still got that.
They only wrestle there one time a year, but it's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Right.
They got a few Knicks games and
A couple of Knicks games,
wanna
a
call
couple
them
Liberty games, and you might catch a WWE event every so often.
Does
So.
Circus ever come to town?
Circus?
It's
It's
done.
being done.
Circus is done.
Animal cruelty, Mr.
Yeah,
Poffo.
You haven't heard? It's cruel to elephants.
It's cruel to elephants
I'm
and
gonna
lions
call
and
Peter.
tigers.
That's
Yes.
it. Oh my, and bears. Good Lord.
Judy Garland.
So,
Okay, so what
your father's
what happens
ready
with
to
this
go?
Battle Royal?
Yep.
You're assuming Randy's got this
So
taken care of.
my brother grabs me with his man hands. Boy, did he have man hands.
I bet.
Boom. And he puts that face against my face and he says, "They're not going to let Dad in the Battle Royal."
Okay.
And I said, "Why not?" Because they're expletive, F this and blank that, and out of words.
Anger. Yeah.
And he says, "I was going to quit and I was going to have you quit. But Dad insists that we stay here and make the money."
Okay.
And I thought to myself, that's
Thank
a
you,
relief
Dad.
because,
Yeah, okay.
I was married. I had a daughter. I still have a daughter, no longer married.
Okay.
But,
Thank God.
well, now, wait a minute. Let's not, they might be listening.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They might be listening. And
Sitting there stirring it, calling me.
And you know what? I am a divorced man, but it's all worthwhile because I've got my beautiful daughter and my very beautiful grandson.
There you go.
Nice. Very
And
nice.
he's about 18 months old, likes to load his diapers, and, he's very little responsibility.
There you go.
Yeah, might be a Democrat. I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. Uh-oh.
Hey,
Evan.
Oh,
He's just kidding,
Things are
Evan.
gonna start
Just kidding.
flying. Scream from here. No problem, guys. Fling.
Just kidding. Anyway, I've just alienated half the base.
By the way, we're speaking to the great Evan Ginsberg, who could be seen on Village Connection Radio every Sunday from 11 to 1 p.m.
That's right.
with the Evan Ginsberg Show.
And we never let politics interfere with our friendship.
There you
We've
go.
been friends for many, many years, and it's based on trust. Trust is a must, or your game is a bust.
There you go.
Anyway, I said, why
mix.
don't they want Randy? Why don't want my father in the Battle Royal? And he blamed it all on Pat Patterson and Chief Jay Strongbow.
And do you agree? Was
Do I
it Pat
agree with
Patterson?
what-
Was
do I
it Pat
agree with what?
Patterson? Was it Pat Patterson?
Was it Pat Patterson? Who was behind that?
You just answered your own question. Yes.
There you go. Well, then that's
And
that.
now he's in denial. In fact,
That's why we asked.
when I went to the 2015 Battle Royal,
Okay.
he brings me to the side. Now, I only came in with 3 things in mind to that Battle Royal. Go to San Jose, read my speech, and go home.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there to fraternize. I wasn't there to make amends. And I certainly don't want to get in a fight. Or, can you imagine? He must be 80 years old. And if I lose to an 80-year-old, that's bad. And if I beat up an 80-year-old, that's also bad.
Right, either way.
You can't win.
You're screwed either way.
That is pretty bad.
Pat? Oh, never mind. Okay.
Jeez, that was not the best way to describe
No, I'm
that.
trying-
Sorry, Pat.
I'm trying to keep this over and above board.
Lanny, you
Okay.
look so good.
Oh, Lanny.
So anyway, so Pat told
I
me,
don't feel good.
Pat both said, "I'm sorry about the Battle Royal, but it was just a oversight."
Okay.
Well, false. It was an intentional oversight. But look at Monte and the Pharaoh. Let's look at each other in the sunglasses here.
Okay.
Sure.
I can't prove that I'm right any more than he can prove that I'm wrong. But here's what I can prove. If this was a court of law, what can you prove? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the DVD, the Macho Man, that the WWE put out?
Yeah.
Sure.
Watch it again for the first time. Pat Patterson has nothing good to say about my father and nothing good to say about my brother in the whole DVD. Now, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. He's already suffering from overexposure. He shouldn't have been in the DVD. He had nothing good to say about. This is a eulogy. This is, if you don't have anything good to say, it's wrestling. Fake it. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Make something up. But there was a lot of good things to say. Now, what they said too, okay, this is what makes me angry. Let's not get angry.
Get angry,
Let's
man.
think about Wayne Dyer and that list of rules. I have
Cleanse
on my-
yourself, Mr. Poffo.
Okay,
He's cleansed. Just say what you got to say.
okay.
Cleanse yourself.
I'm gonna just try not to get overheated here.
Okay.
Because at my age, you
Listen,
know,
I do it every week.
Listen, there's a couple of things that can happen. Get angry, get overheated. You want to punch someone. There's this guy Pete here. He'll just take a punch him right in the face.
Oh my God! Look at Pete. Yeah, go ahead, Pete. Pete, you've mellowed over the years.
Look at you, bobbing your head. Look out. Go ahead, Mr. Poffo.
You know, I got to ask this though. What is Pat's problem with the family?
Okay.
What is his problem?
First of all, what he said about my father, he insinuated like nobody saved money like Angelo Poffo. Okay, my father and Pat Patterson were both raised in the Depression era.
Okay.
My Pat was in Montreal. My father was in Downers Grove, Illinois, but they were both shivering in the summer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Things were rough for my mother too. And my father's goal in life was to give Randy and I a better life than they had, and they did.
Yeah.
Now, my father did a lot of self-sacrificing on the road, but he brought the money home, and he built a beautiful home. I had my own bedroom, and we had a 20 by 40 foot pool. We had the first color TV, I remember.
Okay.
We had a pool table in the basement. So when you talk about saving money, he was self-denying, so he could be good provider to Randy and myself. And if Randy were here, he would say that my father was the greatest father ever.
There you go.
And I have very big appreciation for this. But okay, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but since everybody does it, and there's nobody alive anymore,
Fair enough.
Bam Bam Bigelow, they never say that he was cheap or thrifty or any other bad euphemism for being hey, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness. It is good and wise to be thrifty, bring it home, spend it on your family, and have a savings and have an investment. And when your passive income is greater than your expenses, there you are.
Right.
And you don't have to work anymore. And so what I'm trying to tell you is, nobody said Bam Bam was cheap, but he used $100 bills for toilet paper. And he stayed at the Acme Rinse Central Arms Waldorf Plaza. But go ahead and Wikipedia him, and you will find that he couldn't pay his child support.
Gotcha.
My father not only paid his child support, he stayed married to my mother for 61 years, separated only by death.
Right.
And I don't know, that's getting to be rare now.
Very.
Okay?
Right.
I'm
Yes.
definitely not going to beat the 61-year-old record.
No.
You know, but once bitten, twice shy. But like I said, I go back and say, I'm glad it was worth every bit of it, because I lost my mother, lost my father, lost my brother. No flowers from the WWE. No cards from the WWE. Was that an oversight?
Bullshit.
Was that an oversight?
No.
And you know, when I went there,
not.
I said, hey, I introduced myself to everybody and this and that. They said, yeah, we're with PR. I said, oh, they got PR people, you know, public relations people on retainer. Then why don't you give flowers for my mother, father, or brother? See what I mean?
Ridiculous.
You know, we got flowers from everybody when Randy died. Everybody.
Yeah.
And you know who's the most famous person to give flowers to my brother?
Who?
For my mother.
Okay.
Joey Votto, the MVP, 2010 Cincinnati Reds All-Star, second place in the All-Stars last year, to Giancarlo Stanton. And trust me, when those flowers came, they were big and beautiful. And that was during the season. Maybe his girlfriend did it, I don't know. But he did it. You see what I mean? It was during the season.
Sure.
And these guys are busy. And he sleuthed out where to put them. And I don't know how he did it, but he did it. My brother was a baseball player. And in Yankee Stadium, they had a tribute to the Macho Man when he died. Because 11 years in a row, my brother read, "'Twas the night before Christmas," went all through the house for underprivileged children, for George Steinbrenner in the Tampa area. You know, he does a lot of charity. 11 years in a row. He did it at Ruth Eckerd Hall and the Strauss Center twice a year, 11 years in a row. So not only was he a great man, he was a good man too. And so, you know, I told the PR people, I said, if your job is PR, then when my father died and my brother died, why did my mother get no flowers?
why did she not get a card? And they couldn't answer that. You see what I mean? And my brother is a man that allowed a king cobra snake to bite him on the arm for the entertainment of the fans. And he got 100. It was supposed to be devenomized, but it wasn't desalivated, I guess. And he got 103 fever, and the snake died. So don't tell me he didn't give more than he got.
This was Jake Snake. I do. This is Damien.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake the Snake Roberts.
And it's one of the most gruesome things ever seen on television.
It was gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lanny, we speak about your dad, yourself, your brother. I lost my mother about almost 3 years ago. Can you tell us a little bit about your mom?
My mom died at the age of 90. I took care of her for 6 years after my brother's passing. She was Jewish, very Jewish. Okay. That's the thanks I get for all I've done for you. Gratitude, something I don't need. I wouldn't get it anyway.
Oi, Lanny.
Oh, my God. Oi.
So, but she collapsed when Randy died. I mean, ooh. And so I had to be strong for her, strong for my daughter. But who's going to be strong for me?
Yeah.
So I had to do what was necessary. And June 3rd, 2017, she finally passed. But she wanted to go 6 years before. And my father's death, that was 1 year before my brother's. And
Let's take a breath.
He told me that I was a better son to him. I was a better son than he was. And I said, how do you figure that? He says, because I couldn't get him in that goddamn battle royal.
Oh, boy.
And I said,
really bothered him.
I said, Dad knew that Pat Patterson didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? He said, I should have beat the hell out of, I said, yeah, you'd have done that. You start beating people up, and you're going to be an unemployed guy that nobody wants to work with. Mm-hmm. See what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were an arrogant group of people.
Oddly enough, the one who gave the best advice during when this was going down and gave the most sensible advice was your father. Stay, take the money. When you probably just wanted to take your fist and ram it up Pat's, Pat would have liked that, though.
Well, the one thing I'm getting from it, so I always wondered, like, you guys growing up, right, you're both athletes, how do you become wrestlers? How do you not compete with each other? Obviously, there's an immense amount of respect for your older brother. I get it. But what I'm getting out of this conversation early on is that you guys communicated a lot and discussed a lot. Can you describe the relationship between the two?
Well, there was one time where he asked me for advice. And boy, did I feel important.
Wow.
Because, believe it or not, when he signed with the St. Louis Cardinals organization in 1971. And he stayed with them 2 years and then was unconditionally released. He played in Orangeburg, South Carolina, under the managerial expertise of Jimmy Pearsall. Mm-hmm. It was the only time they ever let him manage because he was some type of bipolar, something wrong with him, you know what I mean? And he said, oh, yeah, he should not manage people.
Wait, he spoke like that while he was playing baseball, too?
Oh, I remember one time, he's a catcher, and there's a bunt, and, they have to call whether to throw it to first or second on a bunt. He goes, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and everybody was laughing. But this is before he made it, you know what I mean? It's like, it was just so I don't know if it was marijuana de fumar or whatever it was, or too much.
I can see him being an excellent field general, baseball.
Oh, yeah. He was a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
And and then he got released from the Cardinals and he signed on with the Cincinnati Reds organization. And then he got released there and he signed with the White Sox as a left-handed first baseman when he's a natural right-handed thrower because he injured his arm and he put in the time to throw left-handed. And he says, where's my justice? I've done the thing. He says, Randy, you've done the thing, but you throw like a girl now. Because no matter how hard you try, on the wrong hand, you're going to throw funny. Yeah. So maybe that's not politically correct, but that's what they told him. What's that?
Your brain won't let that happen. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's all right.
Okay, it's fine.
Did your father want his boys to become wrestlers? Just curious.
He wanted us to do anything we wanted.
Okay.
I wanted to be a wrestler.
When did you decide that? How old were you?
Oh,
Had Randy decided already he wanted to be one?
he knew he was going to be one if he didn't
So
play
what was the
baseball.
age when you decided I want to do this?
I think we all knew that that was a good out for us.
Okay.
And we used to discuss a lot of wrestling and a lot of baseball. Tell you the truth, Randy was so focused, he never talked about wrestling while he played baseball. And after he got unconditionally released for the third time, and it was 22 years old, he never spoke of baseball again, only wrestling. And then I remember the time he came to me for advice, because I guess if you want to be a great wrestler, it's divided into 3 categories: your performance in the ring, your appearance, and your interviews. And Randy says, and I'll tell you what, when he first got in the ring, I couldn't believe it. Whoa, bing, 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 bing. And then, but he was too skinny.
Okay.
And then he started working out and get even skinnier until he met superstar Billy Graham, gave him some advice.
Really? Yeah.
Never,
Some of that magical Graham juice.
never mind.
Never mind.
But Billy Graham's a fantastic person.
Is he?
Sure.
Oh, yes. Very good guy.
Okay.
And he was right about everything. But
Okay.
Randy came to me one time, and it meant a lot to me because, here he is. He was so great and everything. And he says, Lanny, he says, I just can't figure out the interview. He says, I said, you're doing...
Wait, whoa. Are you serious?
Yes.
This is like the greatest thing he ever wound up doing. Go on. So
He says, I can't figure out the interview. And I said, I think you're doing great. He says, no, I'm having anxiety attacks.
Wow. Okay.
He says he's breathing up and down. He says, you're so good on the microphone. Can you help me? I said, yes, I can help you. Your name is Savage. Your hair is savage. Your gimmick is being a savage. You wrestle like a savage. Of all the wrestlers you've ever seen, who is the greatest savage type interview you've ever seen that made an impression on you? And he says, oh, man. He says, King Curtis Iakea and Pampero Firpo.
Okay.
I said, well, remember in 1967 and 68 when we were in Hawaii and 50 times a day the station would play that tag? And Firpo was an Armenian from Argentina with a peculiar accent that you could not possibly reproduce. But I'm going to try.
Okay.
You are watching number 1 station in Hawaii. Oh, yeah. So I said, Randy, read that line. He says, oh, you are watching the number 1 station in Hawaii. Oh, yeah. I went,
Bingo.
that sounds like money.
There you go.
Cha-ching.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, that cash register
I said,
right
oh,
now.
man, I think he's got it.
Yeah.
You ever see My Fair Lady? I think he's got it.
he's got it.
I think she's got it.
Well-
the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. I think she's got it.
I think she started. Well, eventually you and Randy began to work under your father's organization. Was there a point you were trying to grow that company as your organization was battling with Jerry Lawler's promotion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to fill us in a little bit about ICW's workings?
Yeah, it was... I was drafted. I didn't enlist. It was my father and my brother's idea.
Okay.
And I was summoned. I was going to go to Los Angeles under the recommendation of Roddy Piper.
Wow.
There we go.
Take your hat off when we say that name.
Yeah, you ain't
That
kidding.
is a name.
We will.
And yes. And I'll tell you what, another guy, every bit as good as he was great, too. Every bit as good as he was great. And what a wonderful person he was.
Mm.
And not many people go out of their way to help you like he did several times in his life. And what I'm really proud of, I was on his last podcast.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. And I had a chance to thank him. First of all, I told everybody, all his fan base, what he did for me, what he tried to do for me. And I had a chance to say, thank you, Roddy. you know, you do a lot for a lot of people, but all you get is tired. But I want you to know that I have some thanks, gratitude, respect, and, you know, I have to feel that because, you know what? In this wrestling business, not everybody's going to love you.
It's very hard to rank, but where do you put Piper amongst the? I mean, what he's got to be in the one exclusive room, the penthouse. I'm assuming.
Oh, he's in the room.
Oh yeah,
He's one of the first people in the room.
that's right. Yeah,
Because he was in the first WrestleMania.
mm-hmm.
And you got to give him, you know, kudos for that.
Help build the foundation they stand on now.
That's right.
Yep.
So, so then the ICW happened. It's like the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, but Plymouth Rock landed on me. You know, so I was like, I was a babyface, and I was in charge of the picture table, the souvenirs, the merchandise, all that stuff. And it was, I found a place to get lithographs for $60 for 1,000. So you sell it for $1 a piece.
Right.
That's 94% profit. Cha-ching. You know, and
Can
then
I ask how much territory was covered by ICW? Where did?
it was a never-ending territory
Okay.
of miles and miles upon miles and miles and miles.
Okay.
And we went to West Virginia, went to Missouri, all throughout Kentucky, Tennessee, everywhere.
So you were wrestling, you were
Illinois.
doing marketing.
Everything.
Were you booking and writing, you know, the matches and
No.
finishes, anything like
I was
that?
not allowed anywhere near the
Was
matches.
that? Was that?
Okay.
Was
My
that Dan,
father and my
obviously?
brother fought that out.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and no, I never got another.
What was your relationship with Jerry Lawler at that point? Considering you guys are.
Well, Randy had a thing where he'd always challenge everybody, whoever the top guy was, to a shoot, you know. And Randy, that was his MO for his whole career, because if he put his tape in, whoever the main person was, in this case it was Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler, $10,000 to a donut for your favorite charity. You know, to put pressure on him to. Of course, it never materialized. But you know, it was funny.
Any real heat between the companies?
Yes, there was heat between the
Okay,
companies.
there we go.
But then all was forgiven, and Randy against Jerry Lawler drew nothing but money in every town.
Yeah.
And they cooperated and then when Vince McMahon came a-calling, Randy stayed the extra 3 weeks to make sure he did his favors,
Fulfilled, yeah.
fulfilled his obligations,
Okay.
let the other guy get his hand raised so he doesn't leave as opposed to the Montreal screw job,
Right. Gotcha.
you know, of selfishness.
How did you feel about the Montreal screw job, if I can just ask?
Well, let me compare it by taking an odd approach.
Okay.
The last straw for Randy, what drove him out of the WWE, WWF, whatever it was at the time, was he was just the announcer.
Right.
And he felt his match with Ricky Steamboat was so great, but he felt like it ruined his life. I felt it ruined his life because he was OCD about trying to have a better match than that, and he couldn't. And the reason he couldn't is because 50% of that match was because of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Right,
Sure,
exactly.
sure.
And I'm sorry, without a great opponent,
Sure.
not that the other opponents weren't great,
Right.
but
This was a special.
Ricky Steamboat was a phenomenal
Oh,
babyface athlete
yes.
with unparalleled skills.
Yes.
And, you know, if
Yeah.
you can't admit that, you need to go back and watch the video. Okay?
Yeah.
So he kept trying to top that match, and he never could. And it just frustrated him that he couldn't do it. So he's announcing, and he's starting to realize that Shawn Michaels is emerging as the greatest talent in the WWE, whatever it was.
At the time, but getting to be close to being WWE. Go on.
So he called me up at like 2 in the morning, at 3 in the morning. I don't remember what it was. Hello, this is Randy. Yeah, no shit.
I didn't think it was Vince. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, first of all,
The mistake in that voice.
he says, I need you to do something. Because I had a computer with one of those, you know, You've got mail. You know, back in the old ancient
I
days.
still use AOL.
Holy
Quiet
20
down.
years ago, Batman. Go on.
Yeah, this is back in the old days.
Yeah.
I need to find me one of those champagne bottles that you can break over somebody's head, and I think I found something in Van Nuys, California. Those pretend champagne bottles that are breakaway. You know, that they use in whatever vaudeville or movies or stage plays or whatever.
Yeah, props. Yeah.
Prop. Because if you do it with a real bottle, you're going to kill somebody. You know, that's a murder weapon right there.
Right.
So,
Or bad pizza.
he says, find it, but don't pull the trigger. Don't buy it yet. Just find out where it is. So if we buy it, we got to do it in a hurry. So he had a 2-year plan, him and Shawn Michaels. He was going to drink some champagne to Shawn Michaels' career, and they would put their glasses together, say cheers,
I like where this is going.
and then he was going to take the bottle and break it over Shawn's head. Little
Great.
little red stuff coming out, and then it was going to be the Hatfields and the McCoys, the feud every week. Something would happen. Something would happen. I'm going to get even with you for what you did for me. Boom! I'm going to get even with you for what you did with me. He had it all lined up. He thought he was a meticulous man. He thought he was brilliant, and he had a sense of what the people wanted for entertainment. So he went through all this thing, and it was going to culminate at WrestleMania with is going to be Shawn Michaels' hair against Randy's career. If Randy loses, he retires to the announcing table. If Shawn Michaels loses, Randy gets to shave his head in the middle of the ring.
Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
Absolutely.
into it.
Yeah.
Well, Randy was going to put him over, lose right in the middle,
Okay.
and go right to the announcing booth.
Okay.
This is not like Bret Hart, who doesn't care who wins as long as it's him.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
And,
We say you're a big Bret Hart fan.
No, I am. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I am a big Bret Hart fan.
Fair. Okay.
I am. Hey, I don't knock success. He's a better man than me. He's great. He's good. He's fantastic, and he's a nice person. But he was thinking more of Bret Hart than he was the WWE. Okay, can we be
Yeah,
fair?
sure. Absolutely.
And my
We
brother,
feel that way.
was thinking about. Don't forget, he lost to Ricky Steamboat right in the middle.
Right. Which annoyed me, but go on.
But
Especially with George Steele interfering.
You know what's
Very
funny what you're
annoying.
saying here, though? You've got the Hart family, right, which is a great wrestling family, and the Poffo family, and it seems like the Poffo family understands about doing the honors, where the Hart family is more about their branding and maybe more New Age wrestling. Is that fair to say?
I think it's. If I understood what you said, it'd be even fairer.
Okay, so let's try this again.
right.
So the Hart family is about themselves and about taking care of their brand, where the Poffo family is about taking
business.
care of the business.
Yeah,
That's what
it
I'm
sounds
getting
like.
at.
Well,
this.
Especially if Macho was willing to do the right
Randy-
thing by Shawn, and Brett was like, no.
Randy's version of selfishness was that he had his greatest match at his final match. You see what I mean?
Sure.
That he went out with a bang.
Right. And who wouldn't want to do that?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then have people say, well, which match was better, his match with Steamboat or his match with Shawn Michaels?
Right.
But Pat Patterson told him,
Oh, here we go with him again. Go on. Tell me,
says,
more.
Randy, thank you. Very good. But
Hold on, get some music. Good.
Oh, that was the band that just walked by. You were
Is that
saying.
AOL?
I
Good.
think that was a ghost.
At
Yeah.
least they
Okay.
were in tune. Go on.
he says, Randy, that's great, but we're having a youth movement, and the best thing you could do is hang on to the microphone.
We're having a youth movement.
Yes. And so Randy says, ooh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was elderly, but I think I'll get a second opinion on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he called up the WCW,
Okay.
and he insisted that he doesn't want to do any announcing. He wants to go in the ring.
Right.
And with a chip on his shoulder, he tried to prove every night
Right.
that he was a young man.
Right.
So let me ask you: you're both in the organization at the same time. Are you still there while this is going
No.
on? Okay,
I
so
was gone.
you've left. So here's a question for you: whether one of you are having problem, you're wrestling in the same organization, and you get let go, or he's having trouble. How do you guys keep your emotions? I understand it's business, but you seem very close. How did you keep your emotions when you felt something was being unjust?
I always kept my emotions, but my pillow knows the truth. So
are you a pillow biter?
Hey, did you see Corky? You talking about Corky?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you saw the movie?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bite my pillow. That's what I'm gonna do. Because you people are bastard people. You give me nothing. What can I do with nothing? Am I right? That was the movie.
That is the movie.
I love that movie.
Man, I'm thinking that you like movies.
It was Waiting for Guffman. Waiting for Mr. Guffman.
Yes.
Is the name of the movie?
I think you're
100%. There you go. So anyway.
Give him a minute. He'll give you the release date. You give him a minute. He probably will.
Oh, listen, that was just a particularly great movie.
Okay.
And so my point is, if I had a point, the only thing that counts is what the bank teller counts. Now, in my life, I had to have a defecation sandwich, eat it or starve. The money was good.
Sandwich.
Well, the money was good. So I remember before WrestleMania 3, I'm in the Joe Louis Arena. They're going to do an NBC Saturday night's main event. I'm on the dark match. Now, when I was a boy, dreaming of fame and glory, did I dream of being on the dark match? That's what they use to sound check, boom, 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 lighting, check and see if everything's good. Oh, number 22 is off. Move it. Okay, fine. They usually need me to move their and check for focus. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't really what I wanted to do with my life. Okay. But that's what I was sent to do, and I was going to do it. Not everybody liked me, but I'll tell you, there was one guy that did like me.
Pat Patterson?
He liked everybody. But not that way.
God, I'm throwing you off, man. Come on. Hang in there with me.
Oh my
Gorilla
God,
Monsoon.
so good in pink.
Monsoon liked you. That's an important guy to like you.
Yeah.
He says, Leaping Lanny. Where's Leaping Lanny? I want to see Leaping Lanny. I said, right here. And he grabs me and pulls me into the broom closet and has his way with me. Just kidding. No. He could have, though.
Wow.
He could have. But he says, Lanny, I just had a big production meeting with Dick Ebersol, Pat Patterson, Vince McMahon, all the people of NBC. And, here's the problem. Andre the Giant is the biggest star of the 70s, but he's the biggest hero of the 70s and 80s. We put him with Bobby Heenan, but we really want to make him hot as a heel before his match with Hogan at Pontiac Silverdome. He says, have you ever done a blade job? I said, I worked in Tennessee. He said, I repeat, have you ever done a blade job? How many have you done? So I told a little lie, 300. And
little lie?
Actually, it was 30.
Okay.
And I have it's against my religion to cut myself with a razor blade. Okay. It's against my religion, but I did it when asked, and I did it when necessary, and I didn't ever get good at it on purpose. I didn't ever get good at it.
So it was important to them that you did it enough so it looked legitimate, right? That's what I'm getting
Well,
at?
you should have seen people coming up to me. Dick Ebersol says, Lanny, you're going to bleed well for us, aren't you?
Oh, boy.
You've never had blood before on NBC. You're going to do it for us, aren't you? I said, yes, sir. I will do my best. Oh, that's good, because it's very important to us.
So bleed right.
Vince McMahon comes up and says, hello, pal.
Oh, my God.
Hello, pal.
He says, you got a big job to do. I said, yes, sir, I know this. Randy comes up to me. Need any advice? I said, no, I think I've got it. So, if you've seen the video,
I think I know what's about to happen here.
I did a pretty good job. But I had trouble at the end getting the blood to stop.
Okay.
So now I've got a towel over my head trying to get, and I got 3 concerned people, Rene Goulet, Rick Martel, Randy Macho Man Savage, and me, the only ones that give a damn if I bleed to death. So I got this thing over my, and nobody thanks me. Nobody comes up and says, how you
Saul
doing?
and Vince were having a steak. They were,
And guess what my reward was?
Good.
In the Pontiac Silverdome, yours truly played the role
oh boy.
of Dennis Stamp. I'm not booked.
Yeah, that's right.
So, is this the thanks I get?
Wow.
So, I said, well, as a farmer would say, I'm sucking hind tit on the sow here. So I said, I think I'll just, the only thing that counts is what the bank teller counts. The only thing that counts is what the bank teller counts.
Right.
And I kept my job. Other people lost their job. I stayed, sucking the hind tit on the sow. 2 years later, I'm against Hulk Hogan.
Saturday Night's Main Event.
And, all's well that ends well.
Let's clarify this. He's victorious against Hulk Hogan on Saturday night's
Great
main
match.
event on top
We're gonna
of it.
get
was
that
a
in a
great
minute.
match.
I want to back up a little bit. I don't want to overlook the fact that Miss Elizabeth started in your father's organization too, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak about her and some memories or thoughts on how that came about, how she started?
Yes, we used to work out in Lexington, Kentucky at a gym called Sinte Sports Center. That's Cinthe. I think they were Indonesian karate people. And they had a magnificent facility. And the weights and the extra Nautilus and weights, free weights. Cecil Blankenship was Mr. Kentucky. He was in there, and everybody was... They had karate, they had bodybuilding, they had weightlifting. They had it all. And Elizabeth Hewlett was, in the mornings, the person that was the reception desk. First person you see as you walk in the door.
Okay.
And Macho Man had asked her out on a date. And,
How quickly did those two click, by the way? Macho and Liz? Was it like right away? Or?
like a Vita Duarte and Juan Perón.
Okay.
If you ever seen
Gotcha.
Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
Okay.
Do you want me to do the whole thing?
Sure, go ahead.
You're supposed to have been immortal. What are you talking about? That's all I wanted. It's not much to ask for. Okay. No, I just did it.
The truth is I never left you, not in my wild days, my mad existence. I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance.
There you go.
Oh, I
still
love
remember
it.
that commercial back in the day when they were having the
I'm
stage show.
not bragging, but I met some fantastic people in my life. Sure. And Andrew Lloyd Webber is the guy that beat out this guy, and it was Marvin Hamlish. So Marvin Hamlish, one singular sensation, every little step she takes, da 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 da. He wrote a chorus line.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I was drinking out of the same cup with my wife. We were in Madison Square Garden. I was early. I said, "Would you meet my wife?" And we had, my daughter had a babysitter, and she came up. This is Marvin Hamlish. Oh my God! And we've seen everything. Memories like the color of my mind. Anyway, you go Wikipedia. This guy, his resume is long.
Cranked out one thing after another. So.
And he says, "Lanny, do you think the other wrestlers will sign my book?" And I said, "What do you care? You're Marvin Hamlish." He says, "What do you mean?" "You're better than they are." "Oh no, I'm nothing." Nothing.
Wow.
100 years after you're dead, they're going to be humming you. So there he is. So anyway, very nice man, big resume, very low ego. So where were we talking about?
Well, I wanted to ask you, when your brother got the call to go to WWE, what were your feelings about that? How did your dad feel when Randy got the call? And how long before you got the call? Were you hoping you'd get the call quick? Or
what happened is he was on the phone with George Scott, who was the booker at the time.
George Scott, okay.
And he says, "Yeah, it looks like my brother was going to Vern Gagne, but they'll just eat him alive if he goes there and I go here." He says, "Is there any room for him?" He said, "Well, they're not on top." He says, "It was a heel or a baby face." He says, "I'll check. You want to be a heel or a baby face, but you can't go in on top." I said, "Well, I'll take a baby face then."
So wait, why did he think you'd get ate up by the AWA? Like, what was that thought process?
Because they were shooting with real bullets by then. There were desperate people do desperate things. Vince was winning, and they were just counting the bodies. Everybody was going out of business. Mm-hmm. It was obvious that the momentum belonged to
Vince.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And, another thing that Vern did wrong, tactically, if they're invading your area, you should hold your home base. Instead, he went out to the Meadowlands, and he should have stayed in Minnesota and just bunkered down. He would have lost anyway, but it would have taken longer.
Right.
Did your father's organization, did Vince eat up that organization too, or?
No, it was dying of stagnation anyway. We did very good for several years, but we just didn't have enough talent coming in and out to compete with everybody. It's like it gets stale, the same guys against the same guys always. You need to have new faces come in. Old faces remain, new ones coming in, like a nucleus of the old, and the new people get cast athwart into the ebbless tide. That's just the way it works if you're going to succeed at long term.
So let's talk about how you hang in there, and then you kind of go on a little bit of a hiatus right? And then you come back with this, new body.
Does anybody have any bottled water? Okay.
That can be arranged.
Okay. Thank you.
You come back to the WWE with you disappear for maybe 2 months. Is that fair to say? And you come in with the new gimmick and the new body.
Are we talking the frisbees and the poetry?
No,
we're talking about the genius.
He's talking about steroids.
Before we get to that, though, how about the frisbees and the poetry? Who came up with that?
Thank you, sir.
If we may.
Oh boy, did I need that? Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. Actually, Al Costello came up with it.
Okay.
I was just a boy in the audience, watching the Fabulous Kangaroos. Roy Hefferman, Red Berry is the manager, Al Costello, and they used to bring boomerangs that were carved by Aborigines. But you can't throw those; they'll kill you. And
half the crowd.
So they made out of some type of very heavy paper or cardboard. I don't know. Pressed cardboard, I guess. They made like a boomerang type of design with picture of Hefferman and Costello and information about, very interesting really, about Australia, about the tag team with the Fabulous Kangaroos. It was quite a keepsake. They used to throw these around. Fans used to lunge for them.
Oh, sure.
I was one of those fans.
There you go.
My brother elbowed me in the face and got one. So anyway, but we wound up with... Together we wound up with one of them.
Okay.
So anyway, so I was thinking, I was a guest on TNT, and I knew that if I was boring, they would never invite me back. So I decided to stack the deck in my favor by writing a poem for TNT, and I wore my suit of theatrical armor, which I had bought previously, in the hopes of trying to figure out a gimmick that makes money, because I'm always in search of that. Hell, I'm going to be 64 years old. If I find a gimmick now, I'll get it. You know what I mean? And so I go on the TNT with Vince McMahon. Remember the show?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I know you're too young to remember.
Are you talking Tuesday Night Titans?
We're too young to remember? You're out of your mind.
We were right there.
We're that young.
As a matter of fact, could you talk a little louder? I'm having a hard time hearing with my age.
Wait a minute, so if I'm getting this, they're just inviting you on, and you're just doing this on your own.
So I dressed.
Wow.
I figure I played
Good improv then.
I
Good
played
job.
my aces.
Okay.
And I went. Let's see, what was that poem I did?
Dude, if you remember this poem from
He
back
probably
then,
will.
I'm going to give you
It
kudos.
was a long time ago, and it was
my name.
okay.
I hear the wires cracking.
Oh boy,
It's
this is
coming.
like
Don't corner yourself now. No one's perfect except Mr. Perfect.
yes.
Can hear him right now.
This is not a perfect belt, and until it's on my right waist.
I love when
That
you
was-
guys trash the belt.
That was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
We
So
will
it
get that, too.
so anyway, it goes. Oh boy.
Reach harder. Don't get it. When do you want to ask him about the new body?
Yeah,
Well, let's bounce to that, right?
I took steroids.
So, that's really not. So you did.
Stop blocking and tell the truth.
you disappear for a little bit, right?
Yes,
and then
and I
you,
started
do you,
pu-
now do they
I
tell?
got to pump
Do they
you up.
say?
You came
Do they
back,
say,
didn't you?
Lanny, we want you to have a new gimmick, or you're like, I'm coming back with this new gimmick?
Yeah, like what?
And-
how do we get from the Frisbees to the Genius?
And was it the pressure that you're like, look, I want to be a main eventer, and I got to get jacked up.
There you go.
I decided that, yes. And I'll tell you what, I am not proud of it, but I don't want to lie about it because I want to be able to look you in the eye and say, please don't. I got away with it, but you may not.
Right.
Okay? And I think I got away with it. Oh, you know what I mean? I don't know what long-term effect it had. But I was on it for 5 months.
Why did you do it? Was the pressure too much for you, or was there a lot of pressure? And how rampant was this usage?
I knew this was the it wasn't illegal yet.
Okay.
It was the opportunity of a lifetime. I was tired of being a jabroni.
Okay.
I wanted to be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
This was my chance.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to Hulk Hogan, it all came through for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I took my shirt off in the locker room, everybody says, holy sh-. And of
I
course-
said, holy shit.
Yeah,
I remember when
man.
you came back. I
Yeah.
said, holy shit.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, yeah, they said that, but I was still in the locker room with the Ultimate Warrior. You know what I mean?
Right.
Warlord, Barbarian.
Holy balloon
In
arms,
other words-
Batman.
In other words, all I got was a participation trophy.
That's hilarious.
Much. You could have coasted down one of Warrior's veins.
Oh,
my
Here's,
God.
here's a question that bothers me a
Seriously.
lot. It seems like in the professional wrestling world, there's not a badge of honor, but it's okay to do cocaine, illegal drugs, but users of steroids, everybody seems like,
they go, wow.
oh, I don't, I
maybe
never
it was someone
really
else.
used it. I don't.
It's true.
What's the embarrassment of using steroids?
Is it because it almost took the whole business down? That there's this,
Yeah.
no, not me, it was him. Because we've noticed that there's that paranoia, you're not afraid to admit it, and good for you. But most people.
But again,
"No,
I
it's
don't
the
even
other guy. It
I don't
wasn't
even
me."
understand why anyone would be afraid to admit
I don't
it,
know
right?
either. Maybe because it almost took Vince.
Well, the
to
reason
jail.
I want to admit it is because I had a good talk with myself, and I said, "Self, if I can help one person make a better decision than I made,
Right.
because I put wealth and fame above health. Nothing's more important than health. And in this business, people, 99% of everybody I meet is all about pleasure, power, and possession. I'm about health, wealth, and freedom."
Look at this guy over here. I'm with you.
And health comes first.
Right.
What do you have without health? Nothing.
Right.
Would you take $1 billion in cancer? I don't think so. Would you give up $1 billion to cure your cancer? Yes. You know what I mean? It's like life is not fair. You can do everything right and still pay.
The answer may be obvious, but what is it like for you emotionally when you hear of these deaths, like one after another? Some of these are your friends, I'm sure, past co-workers.
I just thought of the poem.
Hit it.
Hit it.
Look back through the annals of history and the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Men from all nations with courage to spare who struggled to carve out a name. Now compare these high standards of valor to those chivalrous knights of yore, with bravery staunch as their armor, their glory both legend and lore. My medieval connection with wrestling relives that magnificent past. Though mindless skeptics may snicker and scoff, the winner is he who laughs last. Alive with the love of wrestling, I appear on TNT, between Vince and Awful Alfred, the hottest show on TV. I'm not your average wrestler, but I wouldn't want to be. I never scream or kiss my arms. I'm happy just being me. I call myself Leaping Lanny. I validate what I say to every single wrestling fan who's watching USA. Yes, I believe in miracles, as God has blessed this great land. I believe the referee will soon be raising my hand. And then after we go to commercial
That was
black,
awesome.
Well, hold on. I got to applaud that, man. Holy cow.
after we go to commercial black, Vince McMahon leans over and says, "Lanny, that was fantastic. Every match from now on, every time you're on TV, you do a poem before every match." And I said, so I tried to be blasé about it, but the 10-year-old boy inside went, "Yes, yes, I got
Sure.
a gimmick."
So how long does it take you to write these poems? Are this coming right straight
Well,
to your head?
here's the thing. They didn't know how long it took me. And Chief Jay Strongbow was in charge of who you wrestled at TV. He put it on the chalkboard. And So politely, I go up to him so politely with my people skills, and I said, you know, I've been here like all day. If you would tell me who I'm going to wrestle, it'll help me write a better poem. And he goes,
Chief J.
He
That's
says,
his puss.
I hate your gimmick.
Nice. Thank you.
The Italian Indian is mouthing off. Go on.
Yeah, the
on,
Elizabeth,
Chief-
the
Chief
Elizabeth,
jerk.
the Elizabeth Warren of Indians. you know,
Wait a minute. Something's about to come flying from the back of the room.
Sorry.
Here we go.
Okay,
So what do you-
wait a minute. Evan Ginsberg and I do not let politics interfere with our friendship at
You
all.
are one of his 5,000 friends. This is
No,
true.
listen,
This is true.
No. Listen, Evan Ginsberg never lied to me, and I promised myself never to lie to him.
There you go.
I might lie to you guys, but I
Oh, well,
won't.
that's okay.
Wow,
We resemble
that's okay.
that. We resemble that remark.
Yeah.
But you may want to
Okay.
give a poem for Evan at some point, or for us.
Or about a pizza. Can
Well-
you give me one about a pizza?
It'll have to rhyme with mensch because that's what he
This
is.
pizza is bad. It made me quiver. Holy shit! It just wrecked my liver. What do you think?
That's
I
pretty,
think that's
like,
pretty
a
good.
This is a new poet.
What? What's the problem?
That's
I'm
pretty
not-
good.
I'm not him. Okay.
So anyway, so what I did, since I knew I wasn't going to get any cooperation from the chief,
So wait a minute. He hates your gimmick, so he's basically saying, I'm not going to tell you who you're
he's
wrestling.
not going to tell me who I'm wrestling.
Wow. Okay.
So
What a dick.
yes,
Go on.
What a dick.
or in the shower, where's his dick? You know,
Or Sean Penn. You dick.
yeah.
So go ahead.
So anyway, what my point is, I knew I wasn't, and I didn't want to stooge on him to Vince McMahon,
Okay.
and I didn't want to tell my brother. No,
Randy would have flipped.
yeah, I didn't want him to flip.
started
He has
doing
enough
that?
troubles.
Right.
Okay.
We didn't have what you call laptops. So I went to the thrift store, got a 49% spiral notebook and a pen.
Instant laptop.
And I started writing poetry that is generic
Okay.
about certain opponents I might get.
Okay.
In other words, I had it all. And I said, and then the greatest thing was, 2 minutes before the match, Strombo says, we need a partner for Corporal Kirshner. Lanny, get in there against Nikolai and the Sheik.
Nice. Okay.
So, and I got to do a poem, but I got 2 minutes. But what they don't know is, I had already written one for them.
Awesome.
So I said, if Volkov comes from Russia and the Sheik comes from Iran, I have a question on the minds of every single fan. Every time your mouth is open, you must put our country down. If you hate us all so much, then tell us why you're still around. There's so many boats and planes that leave our country every day, and I'd gladly buy 2 tickets just as long as they're one way. Because a lot of people fought and died to keep our country free, and we're sick of seeing both your ugly faces on TV. So with Freddie Blassie at your side, just step into the ring and salute your native homelands as the Russian starts to sing. And when the bell is sounded and the match is underway, some American inferior might kick your big red A.
Wow. That's a great.
That's another awesome one. Just cranks them out.
So anyway, one of my favorite people
Okay.
in the WWF, WWE, whatever, Bruce Pritchard,
Okay.
he says, he sees me in Chicago, and he says, Lanny, in 4 days, you're going to be on the Brother Love Show.
That was the best.
And you're going to make me the doctor of love and everything. And I don't even remember this one, but it was I had a chance to go on YouTube and look up Brother Love, the Genius, and people still remember that. And I think that was the moment that Hulk Hogan noticed me
Okay.
to decide to work with me. You know, that I had a chance to do his podcast, and I had the chance to see him about a month ago. Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard, and
His podcast is excellent. Mike turned me on to his.
you better believe it.
Excellent.
It's a
You better
huge,
believe it.
great
Excellent.
podcast.
And he's an excellent person.
Okay.
And I said, you know, wrestlers come and go, and we've done a lot of stuff, and nobody remembers anybody because it's all a bunch of scrambled eggs. But people still come up to me, and they remember the time I was on the Brother Love show. And thank you for giving me 4 days to come up with a poem instead of handcuffing me and doing it that day. Because, if I put some time into it, I'm going to do a better job.
Sure.
Because it's it was it was heartfelt. I think we were on the same.
Was this the
simpatico.
point that you realized that the character was over with the crowd? Because if I can say so, your character, the thing that I found most effective about it was as a heel, the genius was incredibly irritating. You wanted to choke him. Oh, I want to kill this guy. And like when you beat Hogan, we literally called each other like, he just beat Hogan. We were so
What an injustice. Yeah, it was.
Might have been the worst day of my life.
I was rough.
It was tough.
You beat Hogan. I was like, he beat Hogan. I was furious. Like, this guy beat Hogan.
Did you cry at that?
I might have. It
was close.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, not like you and Hogan.
Who decided to put you with Kurt Hennig? And
here's
a tough question for you though. Did you know Kurt had problems, and did you ever try to help him with his problems?
Were you aware of his demons? If he,
Okay, who put me with him? I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
Really?
I just saw, all of a sudden I'm with Kurt Hennig.
You guys were magic together.
And I knew better than to question it.
Okay.
But believe it or not...
Were you happy about hearing that?
I was delighted.
Yeah, I gotta be psyched about that.
Here's something nobody knows.
Okay.
When Kurt Hennig first came to the WWF, I was his bitch.
What? Describe this being Kurt Hennig's bitch.
I was wrestling him in every town.
Okay.
And he would win in every town, 20 towns in a row.
Aye.
But he never hurt me.
Okay.
He always made me look good. And he was always decisive at the end with his finish. And Randy says, man, you're having great matches with Kurt Hennig. How is he to work with? I said, smooth as silk.
Were you learning when, working with a guy like that?
No, I was listening and obeying.
Okay, okay.
I was listening and obeying. All I was going to do... See, I was there to enhance him.
Okay.
And he was such a gentleman. He would always thank me. Not everybody did. Some didn't. If I could wrestle Kurt Hennig as Leaping Lanny, if I could wrestle Kurt Hennig and lose, Terry Funk and lose, Harley Race and lose, Bob Orton Jr. and lose, I would look better and be more popular than if I had defeated Barry Horowitz.
Right. I understand.
Because Barry Horowitz was a good wrestler, but he didn't understand how to get heat, or even that he should get heat.
Okay.
When I was the genius, I used to get what we call cheap heat.
Oh, yeah.
Cheap heat.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, cheap heat was good enough.
Sure.
It's
very
like...
effective heat.
Yeah, like...
very effective.
And I enjoyed the genius character, and I miss it a lot.
Can I ask who you had... I did catch the middle finger before to those who were not kind or not upfront with you. Who do you have heat with in the business during your time, your run? Was anybody really is a real prick and deserves to be called out here? You got anybody? There's got to be someone deserves the King Jackass title.
Okay, let me ignore your question and go back to Pat Patterson.
Back to King Jackass. You were saying...
No, listen. He was, in 1967, I had a chance to be in Cow Palace in San Francisco.
Okay.
12 years old. My brother was 14. My father was there for 3 weeks for Roy Shires. Then we went to Hawaii. I saw Ray Stevens and Pat Patterson against Pedro Morales and Pepper Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, for any money, you can't get more entertainment ever in the history of wrestling. I went bing, 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 bing. How much can these fans take? It's like...
So Pat was influential.
Pat, I said some bad things about Pat, and I meant them.
Understood.
But I never said he couldn't work.
Okay.
And I'd never said he didn't have a great brain for this business.
Sure.
So don't ever get the impression that I'm going to let my dislike for him.
Fair.
Don't take away everything from the guy.
Right.
I don't knock success,
Right.
and Vince McMahon wouldn't have had him in that position
Right.
if he wasn't worthy of it, because Vince McMahon, well, here's Vince McMahon's, this is his MO. Like, here's some beautiful lights in this studio, right? You must have a lighting man. Well, Vince McMahon had several lighting men at every production. And he hired only the finest lighting men in the world, and there was a foreman to make sure of this. You know, an expert in a lighting team. And he would overpay them so they didn't want to leave. And then he would stress them out so they would give even more of their best. And that's Vince's MO. He overpays you so you don't want to leave. He stresses you out so he gets the most out of you. And then when your brother dies, he doesn't send flowers. Okay? Now, I don't know. You see what I mean?
Do you think?
found
But
our
do
heat.
you wait a minute? No, but
Disturbedly.
look, I'm not.
When he's
I
done
don't.
with you, he's done with you.
That's
Which is BS.
and I'm wondering if that's his way of controlling his business. I'm not saying it's right.
What that
I'm not.
is.
You know what I mean? But is it maybe someone's way of controlling? You know, not getting too close to the boys, not making sure he doesn't care enough.
I don't know, but he should have sent flowers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
To my mother,
Yeah.
if Joey Votto can do it, he can do it.
Understand.
Yeah.
And that was during the season.
Sure.
So, and we got flowers from everybody. And we got, that went worldwide when Macho Man died. That was huge.
I'm not sure if you filled this in for us, so I'm going to ask, what exactly was the parting, if I can ask, between Vince and Randy? How did that end? As far as Randy basically was like, he wanted him to just stay the announcer.
He wanted to wrestle,
I mean,
right?
was there any final conversation you could share with us, or anything like, Randy, I'm
there-
out of here?
I wasn't there, but he said, well, if you're having a youth movement, I'll get a second
There
opinion.
you go.
Right, and that was basically.
And he got a second
that was the
opinion.
last conversation.
Turned out that Eric Bischoff didn't think he was too old.
Okay.
But then, a couple years later, he got some 3 knee surgeries in a row, which never did take. And, with a man as physical as Randy Style was, I'm afraid that he became too old. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You're as young as your knees.
Right.
You know what I don't understand? I'm thinking like Randy's a huge player in the game. You're a very big player in the game. You're his brother. And I would almost think that they would shit a brick messing around with you. We're talking about losing your job. It's like, really, all you had to do is complain to somebody, and I think someone would have lost their job, right?
You would think, but you know what?
I mean, that's some
It doesn't
balls,
sound
right?
like you ever tried to pull any cards on other people, like, hey, I'm Randy's brother. I don't get that vibe from you at all.
I'm doing it now.
Well,
Yeah.
you're doing it
I'm
for
wearing the ring.
positive reasons.
I'm wearing the ring, and the reason I'm wearing the ring is because if anybody remembers my name, it'll be because of his. And when I take off this ring, see, don't forget, I've got some guilt feelings because I went against Randy's wishes. I put him in the Hall of Fame, and he enjoyed not being in the Hall of Fame. He only wanted to go in the Hall of Fame as a member of the Poffo family. Hey, I tried in 2012. John Laurinaitis called me on the phone, asked how I felt about Randy going in the Hall of Fame posthumously. And I said Randy's wishes were that we go Randy, Lanny, and Angelo in the Hall of Fame. And he got the idea because the Von Erichs were put in the Hall of Fame. He says, the Von Erichs? What the blank is Chris doing in the Hall of Fame? He says, what did he ever do except shoot himself in the head while his mother was alive? When you think about it,
Man.
how can you do that while your mother's alive? You know what I mean? Aren't you afraid you might hurt her? You see what I mean? Do you ever consider that's a selfish move?
Sure.
Why don't you do it when your mother's not alive? See, anyway, people kill themselves. That's a selfish thing. So anyway, he says, then he started teasing me, Lanny, you're better than Chris, even you. So
Randy.
So I said, so I put the claw on him.
Wait a minute. Only
That's my
Baron
gimmick.
Von Monte
That's my
puts the
gimmick.
claw on.
No.
That's
Laddie, you
great.
seem like you have a lot of respect for Hulk Hogan. Again, as wrestling fans and fans of you and
love
fans of
Hogan.
your brother. What was the problem between Hogan and your brother? They seem to have had this on and off relationship. What really was it? Just competition, or was there something that went on that people just are unaware of?
Well, I love my brother and I love Hulk Hogan. Both of them have helped me so much. I've also got Dr. Wayne Dyer. There's no such thing as a justified resentment. I'll say that the person who threw gasoline on the fire was a shock jock in Tampa named Bubba.
Bubba
Yeah.
Love Gun, the Love Sponge, Love
Yeah.
Sponge.
Yeah, it's a
I wasn't
curse
going to
word in
mention
my
his
book.
name, but
Sorry.
Yeah.
But
Fuck him. Anyway.
he's on the downhill slalom.
Good.
Thanks to karma.
Good.
And
Enjoy the ride.
he used to say terrible things about not just Randy, but all of us.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know me, or my dad, or my mom. But, there's no limit to what he's going to say.
Wow.
We know somebody like that. Go on.
A guy on the microphone, you can't stop him, So, whatever. The thing is, it all got rectified at the end. I think Randy had a big list of a verb and a pronoun people,
Yeah.
FY,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and a big FY list. And he went around making peace with everybody, and on the top of the list was Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
And they parted friends.
Good.
I'm proud to say.
Thank God.
That's great.
But
Good.
in my case, Randy came to me with that Be a Man Hulk,
Yep.
and he wanted me to write a rap tune against Hulk Hogan. I said, Randy, this I cannot do. Because that thing on NBC he did for me, I can't do that now.
Yeah.
I can't do it ever.
That was the greatest program.
Because you're looking at a
Awesome.
jabroni that he made into
Star.
a star
You're
for
a star,
4
man.
months.
Yeah.
I was, I've had 27 appearances in Madison Square Garden, twice on the main event.
There you go.
It's like 184 less than Bruno,
Yeah.
but
All right,
still, that's
fair.
pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Great.
No, it's great. Listen,
I'm appreciative.
I have to ask, with everything that's gone down with Hulk Hogan, is Hulk Hogan a racist? What is this?
Absolutely not.
Thank you. Could you please elaborate on how you feel about what happened and how he was bagged and all this BS?
Okay, I aspire to be half the humanitarian Hulk Hogan is. Half. If I could be half the humanitarian Hulk Hogan is, I'm going to get a Nobel Prize. Okay, first of all, he's a human being. He was being torn apart at the seams. He was trying to keep his marriage together. He was trying to keep his son out of prison. He had a lot of problems at the time. Can't you see that? And I think he was looking longingly at the wrong end of a Magnum 2. It's an easy way out. So
Oh, man.
I've seen him do more. Between my brother and him, nobody's done more to help those less fortunate, regardless of color, regardless of anything.
Do you think he'll come back from this? Will the public forgive him? Do you see him coming back?
The public has already forgiven him.
I agree with this.
Yeah, it's just the corporate sponsors and stockholders and
Snickers.
Yes.
All right, we're coming close to the end.
Okay.
I got to hit you with the most important question tonight, and I want you to really
Oh, no.
focus on this. Okay?
Oh boy. Go ahead.
Is Alexa Bliss the greatest professional wrestler of all time?
How did I know? You always got to get Alexa Bliss, and he probably doesn't even.
Okay.
And I want you to think about what you're about to say. This is very
Yeah, it
important.
starts with an N and ends with an O. Go ahead.
What an asshole!
Okay.
What an asshole!
You know, I
Okay,
tried.
do me a favor.
God.
I'm going to say that she's a fantastic champion and a great wrestler.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
However,
We agree with that.
go on YouTube.
Okay.
There's a match between Kenny Omega
Yeah, baby.
and
Okada?
actually it's that too.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho.
Yes, that was awesome too.
Now here's Chris Jericho in the twilight of his career.
Yes, great match.
Kenny Omega coming up.
Yes.
They
Great
meet
match.
in the middle like
They sure
Benjamin Button.
Yep.
And
It was a great match.
you know the difference between objective and subjective?
Absolutely.
Okay, if it's a 100-yard dash, I can prove who's the fastest. Whether I love you or hate your guts, whoever's fastest is the fastest.
That's right. End result.
Okay. However, in wrestling or diving even, If the Romanian judge gives you a bad score, you lose. I don't care who you are. So,
I love it.
He's right.
it's a matter of opinion whether Alexa Bliss is the best.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, the very fact that you're even offering her as a question for me proves that she's one of the best.
Look at
man.
that.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
But
That's a late birthday present.
I'm going to tell you what.
It is.
I'll tell you what, Kenny Omega
Amazing.
and all these, anybody that says, what can I do to entertain these people in a way that nobody's done it before?
Right.
As the genius, as Leaping Lanny, I tried to do it. Didn't always succeed. Sometimes I fell short. But I always tried. And I'm still trying. And I want to tell you guys something. This is a good interview.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And you know why?
Thank you.
Because you guys love wrestling. I feel this. And I thank both of you for doing your homework. Sometimes I think I'm being interviewed by somebody like Jiminy Glick.
Well, can I say this? I think I love you.
Oh,
You
God.
do?
I do. I think I love you. I think I love
I'm
you.
going to go get you to a room.
Well, I don't.
I'll get you free pizza and everything.
I don't put out. Not after the blade job with Andre. I said I'm not going to put out.
Yeah,
Well,
well.
the broken nose, which we didn't get into.
what they
but
make
that's a
condoms
whole-
for.
Didn't Andre give you a headbutt or something like that? But it's a whole other story. Right?
No, he gave me a headbutt, but didn't
Listen,
break my nose.
Oh,
It
he
was
didn't
just
break
a.
your nose. He just
No, I didn't break my nose. It was.
I will tell you this. I think I could speak for the Pharaoh.
Uh-oh.
You
We're in trouble
were
now.
one of our childhood heroes, even though we're not that far apart.
Yeah.
We really aren't.
Even though you hated me. With a passion.
Listen,
Oh, no,
love
you
and
don't get
hate.
it.
Love and hate is a big
It's
deal.
like a heel evolution with us over the years.
But,
I just love the bad
as
guys.
a babyface, as Leaping Lanny, 5 years I was getting tired.
Right.
I needed rebirth.
You were so good at
Well,
that.
I will.
And a couple of
Genius
shots-
was
I will
shots
tell
of-
you.
couple of shots of Deca.
You
Please,
came
for the Hall
a
of
couple
Fame,
of shots of Deca, and you were I was
But I'll tell you
rocking.
what, and I'm warning you. When you pull the needle out, your libido goes down.
Oh.
But I was married at the time, so it made no difference.
So, holy limp Lanny.
Mr.
Hey,
Pop.
but I was stronger. It made me stronger. I can bend it with two fingers, where I couldn't bend it with two hands.
Bigger, stronger, and faster.
Has it recovered since? You okay now?
Has it recovered since?
I don't like to brag, but I buy my condoms 12 at a time.
There you go.
January.
He's a one-trick, one-month pony.
It was our
my
honor
Lord.
to have
Yes,
you
it
on
was.
our show.
Yes,
I
it was.
thank you so much.
Well, it was a big surprise to me because you guys really know your wrestling, and I appreciate the politeness and professionalism that this show has given me.
Thank you.
And anytime. And Evan, thank you for introducing me to these.
Thank you,
People.
Evan. Thank you,
Evan.
Evan.
Would you
As
actually-
always.
Would
Thank
you
you,
actually
Jim.
say that this is one of your best wrestling interviews ever on Monte and Pharaoh?
I would say that not only is it the best interview, it is by far the most recent.
Oh my God!
It's the logic is overwhelming.
It
I mean,
is.
what are you going to do? It's like hanging out with Mr. Spock. I can't argue with the logic.
Listen, I'm about to give you a reach around, guy. We're ready to go.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Well,
Kirk
again,
out.
we want to thank the icon, Leaping Lanny Poffo, the genius Lanny
genius.
Poffo.
That's right.
The family member of the great Poffo family, brother of Randy Macho Man Savage. Once again, thank you
And
for
I would
joining
like to
us.
say, did you see my shirt?
We did see your shirt.
Go on Pro Wrestling Tees,
Yeah.
not TEASE,
right.
TEES.
Jay Lethal
And
rules.
scroll all the way down. Lanny Poffo's got a store now. And this is
Nice.
my brother from another mother, because Jay Lethal and I are doing some fun things on Ring of Honor. And you know what Randy thought about Jay Lethal?
What did he think?
Ooh, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. This guy is good.
And he had it.
And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he can imitate Flair,
Yeah.
Macho Man,
Oh, and an incredible wrestler in the ring. too.
and
That's a
on
whole-
his own, his individuality.
He's great.
He's
great.
and he's a nice person.
Is he?
Yes,
Excellent.
And Evan knows that. What a nice person he is. And you hate everybody.
That's what you know.
Friend number
And
4,999.
we lost some dear friends.
Yes.
Nikolai Volkov.
Yes, yes.
And
Jim the Anvil.
Jim the
Jim the
Anvil,
Anvil,
and
Can you take just a minute or so to talk about both of them and maybe any thoughts on both of them?
In closing?
well, who's next? That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
And that's why treat everybody like it's their last day,
Yeah.
and be kind. And if you have some nice thing to say it now. You won't have a chance tomorrow.
Well, I love you, brother. Thank you for
I love
coming
you guys.
on. Thank you for coming
I
on.
love you guys, and
Thank you.
We're gonna be, we're gonna be friends. We had fun on the car ride.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
And
Thank you, Bartman.
yes.
Yes, we did. It was
Thank-
a great ride.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
SpongeBob.
Well, you're gonna have a fun on a car ride home,
Yeah,
so
we
you'll be
are.
all right.
Yeah, it's been a great
all right.
day.
Well, so this has been another episode of Monte and the Pharaoh with the great Lanny Poffo. Thank you so much for this wonderful interview, and then once again, I would be remiss not to say thank you, Mr. Jim Savelli, for every week giving us this opportunity to produce this wonderful show.
Village
and
Connection, number one.
Village Connection is where you have to be. Catch us next week, Thursdays, 8:05 to 9 p.m. Don't forget a special this Sunday edition at 3 p.m. In studio is Val Venus.
Hello, Monty.
And again, Wanley, thank you again, sir, for gracing us with your presence. Catch us next week, everybody. Thank you.
Later.